Hello, this is my final reflection for my community service project. I'm Maya Bushman. My project is called Our Girl Kona, and over time, what the goal became was to train her, to basically give her knowledge of a few basic obedience commands, so that it would be easier for her to get adopted. The mission statement of my partner organization, which was Watermelon Mountain Ranch, is all those who enter will find love. My first thing to address was pet overpopulation and no-kill shelters. My second research topic was dog training. The goal of my project initially was just to volunteer with Watermelon Mountain Ranch. Over the course of only a couple months, it grew into wanting to train a dog that I really took a liking to. It's more individual than serving an entire community, but a long-term impact of the project could be more dogs being adopted. In particular, the dogs that I've worked with. So the long-term impact is that more dogs could be getting adopted because the owners don't have to do all of the work, and yes, they can have a companion, yes, they still have the responsibility to train them, but they already have some basics, which I think you need if you're going to try to instill other things in them. And if you can at least get them to do some basic things at first, it'll be easier for you as the owner to integrate them into your family life without all this hassle of oh my god, a new dog and everything's changed, because you have some stability. There's some level of stability there. I don't think there was a specific advantage to a youthful voice being brought to this organization. In general, I think a project like this could be carried out by anyone of any age, and I don't think youth is really going to impact the project. My project was influenced a lot by dog trainers on YouTube, and I believe they're younger, perhaps only at most in their 30s. So they kind of have this new view of how to train dogs, and so I think that being in the younger generation kind of helps you problem solve these things for the modern world, rather than being stuck in some old time frame where other things were done to solve these problems. I think this project has in some ways given me the feeling of making a difference. It's kind of given me a new perspective on a lot of things. For instance, the shelter system. The next step or steps would be to get more people involved and make it larger scale. Instead of having only professional trainers going to their local shelters and maybe helping people, or only working with people who already have dogs, I think that there should be more people working to train dogs in animal shelters. I do plan to keep volunteering at Watermelon Mountain Ranch for as long as I can, and working with Kona and Betty until they get adopted. I think that other kids from Academy should consider this if they're going to do projects working with local animal shelters or rescues, that they should consider this sort of thing. For instance, training a particular dog or particular dogs, so that they have a better chance of getting adopted. This project has, in some ways, kind of changed possibly what I want to do in the future. I can now see myself as a person who works at an animal shelter, or I can see myself as a lifelong volunteer. This hasn't really changed career goals. I visited the veterinarians on career day. I think animal care is important. I don't know if I could be a veterinarian, or if that's anything I've really gained significant interest in, but I can possibly see myself as a volunteer when I'm older, in college, when I have a paying paying job as an adult. I've learned better how to work with dogs and what it really means to actually work with a dog, and not all dogs are the same, and you really have to know what you're doing, which sometimes I really don't know what I'm doing. I was at an adopt-a-thon. I was walking this one little dog. Her name was Ham. She was a little like Chihuahua miniature pinscher mix. And this one guy came over because he was interested in her, and I asked him, "Do you want to hold her?" He held her, and he really liked holding her and petting her, and he told me, that his wife had passed away and that he just wanted some companionship. That's kind of influential to see like what walks of life these people come from. That story has kind of stuck with me. The most challenges that I actually experienced were just kind of working with untrained dogs. But it wasn't particularly challenging to actually teach them. I just had to do my research, watch videos from trainers, and figure out what I was going to do, figure out my plan of action, and then implement it. I've had challenges with the administration. I wouldn't say problems necessarily. It depends on what incident you're talking about. It's usually just challenging, and they do sometimes present obstacles. Continuing this project in the future in another location or on a grander scale or whatever, I might try to, I don't know, change not necessarily my outlook, perhaps the way I approach it and what resources I have available to me, because this was my first time volunteering really and working with dogs, and I was very inexperienced. I'm still pretty inexperienced, and I have learned a lot of things since then, and what things could be different. How could I be better at training, and how could it be more successful as a whole? You should volunteer if you want to, if you have this desire and ability to. I think it's worthwhile to spend time engaging in an activity that you like that also it benefits others. That's how my perspective has changed, is that I sincerely hope changes are made to benefit the dogs more.